all due respect to the current chairperson, if elected president, she would not be reappointed.
Debbie has to make a decision going forward, because what we all have to focus on now is how we unite and how we defeat Donald Trump.
I think there are a lot of people also at the DNC who have been very put off by the way in which Debbie Wasserman Schultz has run this whole thing.
She's sort of the prime target for the Sanders forces.
Clearly, I favor her opponent.
I think we all need to figure out how to get along. We got to land this plane.
And the calls are growing to see DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz booted from her job. She is taking the blame for all of this 2016 Democratic chaos, and many say she has not remained neutral and is favoring Secretary Hillary Clinton over Senator Bernie Sanders. And on top of that, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is locked in an election battle herself to keep her congressional seat in Florida. Her opponent in the Democratic primary, Tim Canova, goes on the record tonight. Thanks for being with us this evening. Why should the voters choose you over Debbie?
Well, Debbie Wasserman Schultz has failed to represent her district. She's been distracted, to say the least, with her duties as chair of the Democratic National Committee. She has not performed all that well as the chair of the DNC. We see how divisive she's been. And she has not been doing well representing her district, like I said. On issue after issue, she's been taking a lot of special interest money. She's a political insider who looks out for her own interests before those of her constituents.
All right, well, what do you think is one of the worst things about her? I mean, what the critics say, look, she's in the bag for Hillary Clinton. She's not been fair. A lot of the Sanders supporters feel alienated and that the fix is in.
Well, it's certainly interesting how few debates that she's scheduled for the presidential primary, and she's been dodging debates against me as well. Just last week, she got a local union friend of hers, Dan Reynolds, to try to engineer an endorsement from the Central Labor Council without ever screening anyone. So it's a perverse view of democracy when you can have elections without debates, you can make selections without screening. It doesn't show a real faith in democracy.
All right, well, let's talk about your fundraising. You believe that you've been given you've been buoyed by the support of Senator Bernie Sanders endorsing you. You've received about $2 million in donations, and many of them from out of state. What do you attribute this to?
Well, I think there's a growing grassroots movement in this country, a progressive movement for change. And Bernie Sanders is certainly leading that movement. And a lot of folks are flocking to our message as well. We raised over $1 million in the first 4 months. We got a big boost from Senator Sanders' endorsement, and we've still been raising money pretty well ever since. You mentioned that we get a lot of the money from out of state. It's all small donations. Average donation size is less than $19. We're not taking any corporate money, whereas my opponent is taking an awful lot of out-of-state money, but it happens to be from big corporations. And we got more donations in the state of Florida in the first quarter than she got. And she had a 12-year head start.
All right, so Tim, if you were to win, who would you want to replace her with at the DNC? Who would be your pick?
My pick? I haven't given much thought to who should replace Debbie Wasserman Schultz, but I will say that I do think it is time for a change. She's become a very divisive leader of the party. Now is not the time to be divided going into a convention, and I certainly hope that we're able to make a change. She should be no longer spending her time on national politics. She should be back here in the district in Florida's 23rd, and she should be debating me, and she should be letting the voters of this district have the opportunity to hear a debate. She owes it to the voters here.
All right, Tim Canova looking to give Debbie Wasserman Schultz the pink slip in Florida and at the DNC. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.